only station making history every day.
Chicago, Chicago.
Now, John Cass.
89 WQS.
Good morning, Chicago. This is John Cass here, 89 WOS, sitting in with Lauren Cohen, who's
Morning.
been with me all week and last week, I think, right?
Yeah,
We're
we've having
starting
some
to stretch.
fun. Lots to talk about.
And it's good that when you're thinking Zeppelin, first thing I'm thinking of is, at least when I tell my teenagers, we didn't have any explicit lyrics in our songs back in the day. Anyway, one of the great pleasures, professional pleasures, of my life is to talk to readers on WLS, who read the Tribune, and listeners, and to talk to people who call me with their stories for the paper. And I got a call recently from a mom from Oak Lawn, Mary Rita Inslee, who told me an amazing story, Lauren. Her son had tonsillitis. They brought him to the hospital. They asked Mom and Dad to step out of the room, and they asked her son, Sam, do you take drugs? Do you take alcohol? You know, usual questions that you ask privately. And then they asked him something else. They said, do your parents have guns?
What?
Yeah.
Why would they ask that?
Do your parents have guns in the home?
This is with the parents out of the room.
This is with the parents out of the room. And I'm wondering how many different questions like that, weird stuff that people get asked. And we're going to be taking your calls, 591-8900, your text at WSAM to JJ68683. We will be talking to Lou Dobbs later about Republicans and the fiscal problems, and we'll be dealing with Benghazi and how the president left those men to stay on the rooftop for 7 hours.
Right, Secretary Clinton
While they
testifying
died.
right now as we speak.
Right, but first we have on the line the mom of today's column in the Chicago Tribune, my column, Mary Rita Inslee. Mary, are you on?
Hi, John. I'm
Hey,
here.
what's up? Tell us what happened.
Well, you know, it was a routine hospital admission, and the last time one of my kids was admitted was 10 years ago. I just thought it was going to be exactly the same, and it was to a degree until my son told me after the fact, when they asked me to step out of the room, he told me later, Mom, when you were out of the room, they asked me if we had any guns in the house. And, you know, at the time, I was shocked and figured, you know, well, it's our era. This is, you know, Obamacare, blah, 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 you know. But then
The government stepping right on your
the
neck.
government,
Right.
Trying to, I guess they're implementing Obamacare early, you know. And I was more concerned with getting him well and following up with doctors and things like that. And then last week when all this with the gun control stuff came up, then I thought, well, this is crazy, you know. So that's when I decided to contact you.
But when your son replied no, did they ask further questions, or was that it?
No, that was it. That was it. They asked other questions about, you know, smoking and bullying and do you get good grades.
Yeah, what's that?
What does that have to do with tonsils?
Yeah.
What do guns have to do with tonsils?
Well,
what is
nothing.
This?
And,
Well, in the Second Amendment, in the Bill of Rights of our Constitution, I think it's the 11th Bill of Rights that says if you have tonsils, and they're inflamed, that your doctors
They're a
can
weapon
ask,
of mass destruction.
Yeah, your doctors can ask, right, Mary?
Right,
I mean,
exactly.
how? What
well,
is
being,
it? Yeah.
being that I'm kind of up on the issues, and you know,
Right.
of course, I'd like to be more educated than I am on the issues. But I try to do the best I can with, you know, working and raising kids and running a household. But I just thought it wasn't right. It didn't sit well with me, and for first reason because they asked the question at all. The second reason, because they asked the question when I was out of the room. So that, to me, made it a little more sneaky and underhanded.
Why did you go out of the room?
They asked me if I could step out for the teenage questions.
Right.
So
now,
did you question the doctor later? Did they give you any explanation of why that is their new list of questioning?
They called her after we started making calls, and the hospital said, "No, we never asked such questions." Then Mary Rita got a call from the boss of the hospital, right?
I did. I got a call late yesterday afternoon from the doctor in charge of the pediatric residents, and he said as of October 2012, the AAP, the American Association of Pediatrics.
Right, you got it.
Yeah, they have it's in their policy to ask those questions, and then I said, well, you know, what if they answer yes? You know, my son happened to answer no because I don't have any guns in my house, but he says, well, then we want to educate them on proper handling.
Really,
what does that mean?
You know, Mary Rita, one of the things you said to me yesterday, and I quoted in today's Tribune column, was this issue of, are they setting up, as the government and basically, you know, the bureaucrats who are trying to implement policy, are they trying to basically set up a situation where a kid feels like he has to lie?
Exactly, and that was my next point. I don't want to teach my kids to lie, but if it comes to that, that's what people are going to have to do to keep their privacy.
You know why this is happening? In addition to what this agency is now recommending doctors do, following Newtown, Obama issued an executive order clarifying the Affordable Care Act, and it does not prohibit doctors from asking questions about guns in the home.
You know, that's right, Lauren. And one last thing before we go, Mary Rita, and we're going to be taking calls at 591-8900. First of all, thanks for getting in touch with me at the paper. And make sure that you have your son read the Constitution, as I'm sure he will. We interviewed him. He sounds like a very bright young man from a great high school, St. Rita High School, and I want to thank you.
He actually had a copy of it in his hand last night.
Is he recovering
I love
nicely?
it.
Is he recovering? Is he feeling better?
He is.
Good.
He's
Good.
he does have to have his tonsils out eventually, but I might have to find another hospital.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mary Rita, for calling us. You've been great. This is John Cass with Lauren Cohn. We're taking your calls. Do doctors ask about guns of your children? 591-8900. More after this. Hello, Chicago. 89 WLS. This is John Cass, and with me again is my friend Lauren Cohn.
What an unbelievable story, John.
Thank you. Weird, huh?
I mean,
Doctors asking your children. Now, Mary Rita told me if they were going to ask about psychological issues and guns, or, you know, it was he being treated for psych issues or mental health issues, they could ask the gun question. That's a common sense mom,
right?
But he's not being treated for that. He doesn't have those emotional or mental problems.
No, this isn't a case.
This is about his tonsils.
It's not a case where DCFS is coming in and asking, you know, a question because there might have been signs of abuse. It isn't a case of when suddenly you see someone, children brought in as victims and caught in a gang crossfire, and they're
right.
victims
He
of
doesn't
gun
wear
shooting.
his hat crooked. He's a kid from St. Rita.
These are your tonsils.
Do you have out there, if you're listening, do you know these kinds of stories? Because we're interested in hearing them. What kind of weird stuff do authorities ask your children? We've got Mary on the south side. Mary,
Hi.
you're on. Hey.
They didn't. I don't recall them asking our 18-year-old son. He had to go for a freshman physical for college, and I stayed in the room. I don't remember if they asked him if I should leave or not, but I was in there, and they asked unbelievable questions. The nurse told me it was for Obamacare, and it went into a database. She stood right there and put all the answers into the database, but they asked about many, many questions about, you know, sex, orientation, tattoos, piercing, alcohol, and it's all going into a database for future use and reference.
How about political affiliation? Did they ask if he reads the Daily Kos blog online, if he's a liberal?
No.
Maybe they'd give him a break, you know, a tuition cut? No?
Yeah, that would have been nice.
What's next? Are they going to profile all of us and have us all in a database so that when you are admitted to the hospital, they just bring up your profile?
Did they tattoo him so he could be registered with the National Obamacare database? That is sick, though,
No,
isn't it, Mary?
but, you know, we have a son who's 8 years older, and I was in for that freshman physical, too. There was no such thing.
It's ridiculous. Thank you, Mary. We're going to go to, thank you so much for calling. We're going to go to Jim in Aurora. Jim,
Good morning.
Do the
Jen. How you
doctors? Yeah. Do the docs? Lauren and I want to know. Do the docs ask your kids questions about their gun habits?
Well, actually, I'm going to ask when I get home today because he was at the doctor last night after a wrestling beat because he got hurt. So I'm going to find out when I get home.
Is he okay?
But yeah, he'll be fine.
He just got the cauliflower ear.
He got his bell rung.
Yeah, that happens.
What I wanted to find out, though, is I thought I had heard you talk about this, John, or maybe I read it in a column, that there was a couple of lines buried somewhere in these thousands of pages about the Obamacare that allowed them to start asking these kinds of questions, that it was part of the mandate.
Well, that's what they just did. They had clarified in the executive order that doctors are not prohibited from asking patients about guns in the home.
In other words, they don't say
but
that.
are they compelled to ask them?
Well, when you say you're not prohibited, it's like what do your friends say? It's better to ask forgiveness than permission, right? So once you unleash them, they're going to go for it, Jim. And they don't have. You know what's amazing, Lauren and Jim, and everybody out there? The Illinois politicians love to have these little gun control fights. Their little political fights. They don't have the guts to give money or put money and hire coppers to fight the Black Gangster Disciples and the Latin Kings. We're down several. I don't know how many thousands of cops that we should have that we don't. But let's ask the kids.
Problem thing. They're trying to, and I don't know that I necessarily have a problem with this, but some of these gang things are starting to be equated to terrorist acts. So.
All right, Jimmy, sorry we had to cut you off. John Cass, Lauren Cohn, 591-8900. WLS, more of your calls after this.
89 WLS.
When you see trouble on your commute, call the 89 WLS traffic tip line and let us know. 312-984-CARS. That's 312-984-5277.
John Cass, Lauren Cohn here. We're talking about my column in today's Tribune. A boy goes to the hospital with tonsillitis, and the doc started asking him about guns. Lauren, you've got some text coming in.
It's totally ridiculous. Yeah, this is from the Amish texter, 847. The next question after do your parents own any guns will be, do your parents ever speak bad about our dear leader?
Amish texter. Let's take some calls, huh, Lauren? Mm-hmm. Okay, John, Northwest Indiana, line 1.
How you guys doing? Good morning.
What's up?
The next question they're going to ask is, have you ever bought any 32-ounce sodas?
Yeah, and are they caffeinated? Let's see, Terry in Northfield.
Hi. Well, this goes back about 14 years. They started asking a lot of these personal questions. I had my daughter in for a routine visit at the pediatrician. My daughter was 10, a very sweet little girl, and, we were kind of the typical North Shore family. The pediatrician says all the safety questions. Do you wear a bike helmet, all that? And then she asks, do you have guns in your house? And my daughter says, oh, yeah, we have a lot of guns in our house. My husband being a skeet shooter. The pediatrician's jaw dropped because she did not expect that answer. And I just kind of looked at her and I said, is there a problem?
You just say pull. Thank you very much, Terry in Northfield. Let's see, we're going to go to Scott in Champaign. Scott?
Good morning.
Got 10 seconds.
I just went to take my hearing test about 2 weeks ago, and I noticed the questions are different on it, too. It used to be, do you have exposure to firearms, and that was it. Now it's how many different types of firearms do you shoot, how many rounds per year do you shoot, and it's much more extensive now than it used to be.
So they're making this into a public health campaign. That's what they're doing.
What they're doing is they're using public health and bureaucracy to impact policy. It's wrong, and don't force kids to lie to protect their Second Amendment rights. Yes, Lauren Cohen, when we come back, we're going to have Lou Dobbs, and then later, what's going on with Hillary on the hot seat on Benghazi?
I don't know, but she could use a helmet right now.
Yeah, softballs are coming right now to her. All right, we'll see you after this break.